We have something else very special coming your way right here on Wake Up Nigeria. Now, you've probably heard of the term dyslexia before. Have you ever wondered about people living with this condition? Now, we have someone who shared this whole experience with us, and we're about to show you exactly what it was like.
My name is Olajoyin Idowu. I am a student of psychology. I have dyslexia and ADHD. I'm an advocate for dyslexia in Nigeria. I'm founder of One World Africa Foundation. I'm also an interior designer. I'd always known growing up that I was different from every other child, but there was no advocacy, there was no one that recognized it, so I didn't know that I was dyslexic until later. But growing up as a child, I struggled with things that my mates or my peers would do very easily. And so it became very apparent at that point, when I'm trying to do school activities and I'm struggling at it, or I need extra support to do something that someone does easily, then I knew something was going on, and it became worse as I grew in class, new responsibilities as you get older, new classes, new tasks, and all of those things. It became more apparent. But I got stuck at the point where I was doing A-levels, because before then I would cram past exams, and I also had extra support from extra lesson teachers. It didn't make me an eye-flying student, but it just helped me good enough to not repeat a class or resit an exam. But at the point of A-levels, I just got stuck. So there was when my struggle was worse. So even despite all the things my parents tried to do to support me, nothing was working. That was when I knew for sure that, okay, what exactly is going on? And fast forward to after A-levels, I was just done with the educational system. I didn't want to continue anymore. And when I was home trying to learn a skill, I came across, I was online that day, because I still was concerned as to what exactly was wrong with me. And with the way society used to also project what they felt was wrong with me, because in school, you see lecturers or teachers calling you lazy, stupid, things like that, things like that. So that also was a negative self-notion that I had of me. And sometimes I would actually, am I actually dumb or something? So I was still always very curious, but I didn't know where to find information. And you ask people around you, nobody, really knew what was going on. So one day I was online and I was searching Google, or searching the internet, and I asked Google, am I dumb? And Google came up with different quotes, poems, as many things as you can find that relates to being dumb. And I came across this article that an educator wrote on, reasons why students would struggle with academic achievement and, be presumed dumb. And the person was talking about the different learning difficulties. And I read about dyslexia, and for the first time in my life, it felt like finally clarity. Like for the first time in my entire life on earth, something made sense. And that was when I started to suspect, but I needed to confirm if I was. There was no professional to test me in Nigeria, but I furthered into research. I also contacted organizations outside of the country, and that was when I confirmed that I was dyslexic. As a child, knowing I was different and not being able to identify another person like me, I was aware of what was considered to be the standard of normal. And I was always too scared to be judged for not being that standard of normal. So I took the extra step to be that standard of normal. So in social setting, in any environment that I find myself, I would try to match up with whatever is expected of me. So it was more like a facade of perfection, but deep down, or like when you're back at home or in your room, there is a different person. So I always felt like I had this multiple personality thing where, I had to also be consistent with. It was so much work. But so that was how I was with friends. I would, be in a group of my friends, do what everybody's doing, not necessarily be connected to it deep down, but just do it. Just because, again, I was also scared to not have friends. So all of those things. Now at home, I was angry with my parents, because I felt like someone should save me. I felt like someone should protect me, or just give me an answer to all of this that was going on. So I was angry with my parents. My mom was more around, my dad wasn't. So, I would always take out my anger on my mom, purposely refused to listen to her. So we had this love-hate relationship. We still do, but it's a lot better now. Yeah, so that was how it was. So growing up, the prevailing emotions, first thing I can remember is anger, another one fear, another one not fitting in, not being enough, being abnormal. There was confusion. Yes, that was the word. There was confusion because I didn't know who I was. I wasn't sure of who I was. And the definition or the idea of who I was from people around me didn't fit to how I felt deep down. Okay. So while I know that my parents acted based on ignorance, not knowing about dyslexia, so they definitely didn't know how to help me. They did try to help me by, throwing in, getting extra lesson teachers, spending money and always getting the best tutor to help me, but that didn't work. And religion is a big part of our culture in Nigeria. So, my mom would always pray and there was the old prayer thing. That also didn't work. Our culture doesn't, embrace emotions. Parents do not believe in emotions. Parents just believe in these three tenets: respect. They expect you to be respectful. They also try to train you in the religion that they believe in, and then they also try to impact you with education. Those are the three things. Every other thing outside of that, they really do not care. I feel like if I was in a kind of family where, my mom came to me at the end of school to sit with me, to, try to know how school was. I think conversations about how I felt during school, those negative emotions that I felt would still have come up. Even if she couldn't really help me with my dyslexia, I think that they would have been able to help me with other, self-esteem issues that I developed along the way as a result. From experience working with dyslexia over the years, one thing is dyslexia is on a spectrum, so people experience it differently. However, there's some commonalities, in the experience of dyslexia. But so would someone experience dyslexia the way I do? Yeah, I would see struggles that would, I can connect so that, yes, okay, this person is definitely dyslexic. But there are also other things that I wouldn't share in common that the person would definitely have as well. I always had to, form a facade of perfection so I can be amidst my friends. And it has made me grow into someone who I'm not exactly emotional connected. So you would meet me and I may have conversations with you. You may feel like, oh, you had this great progress, we're close, but we're not. So 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 I'm very so to have friends. I don't really have friends, but I know a lot of people. So I'm popular. A lot of people know me, but I don't have people that are very close to me. So people who have over time gotten to be close to me are people that made extra effort. And it also happens with relationships as well. My mind is usually not there. So you would see that, we're having a good time. Everything is fun, interesting. I'm finding more ways to, but deep down, there is no connection. So I started advocacy for dyslexia 5 years ago. And that was as a result of coming across the term dyslexia. Really, it wasn't from a place of I didn't have any knowledge. I was a dropout of. I recently just dropped out of school, so I wasn't even a professional in any field. It was just the name dyslexia was what spiked my interest, and that was because I felt I was at the time. I had not yet confirmed it, but it was just something that made sense to me at the time. And I realized that nobody was saying anything about it. And it was also very damning because even when you research on the internet to find like centers that are doing something about it within your locality, you can't find anyone. So I just had to. That was it. I did try to avoid it. I did try to not even go into it because I didn't feel qualified enough. And I didn't want anybody to question my authority as a result. But so I just did the little where I would post the content about it, write about it, or tell the next person about it. And from doing that, it grew to the point where I found people who said that they could relate. And that was when it became interesting. Because then I realized that it wasn't just me anymore. There were like many more persons like myself. And I'm a very empathetic person. So when you sit and listen to other people's stories and you realize that people even went through it worse than you did, so it just led me to action that how can I make life better for this person, or like that. And, that was how this whole advocacy thing was birthed. And I didn't get the support of my parent immediately because all they were bent on is go back to school. Things that were not even related to school, they will bring it into the conversation. You can be in the kitchen, for instance, and you want to drink water, and then my mom is obstructing your view, and like, Mom, please, can you sit down and take a cup? I said, if you're in school, I'll not be obstructing your view. Like, things that do not relate to school at all, you will find that, parents, that was just what they were bent on. So I had not come up with strategy on how I want to go back to school, and then the next thing is NGO. So my parents were very, very, what's the word now, very savage in letting me know, focus on what your focus should be. Like, you're placing focus on the wrong things. And my mom even used to say that NGO is for someone that has made it in life and wants to give back to the society. So things like that. But I was just bent on solving the problem. We're nowhere in diagnosis in Nigeria. We've made progress in advocacy. We see more people talking about dyslexia more than ever these days. You would even find more organizations, focused on dyslexia these days. But for diagnosis, we have not scratched the surface because we do have specialists who, can test for dyslexia, but people cannot afford to assess this specialist. We don't have enough specialists in the first place because we have over like 36 million Nigerians that are estimated to have dyslexia. Yeah, but so we have specialists that cannot cover for that population. However, even the little cannot even afford it yet. So that's the problem with diagnosis. So we have people that can do the assessment, but people that cannot afford the assessment. I've been advocating for so long, and I recently just discovered that I had ADHD. I always just thought it was like dyslexia and all of those things. But yeah. So, but in recent times, I came across, I'm now in midst of a lot of specialists who are in this field because I'm trying to find solutions for other persons. And I was speaking to a specialist one time, and we built a relationship, and we got talking. And it so happened that I have ADHD as well. Now, I'd always known that I struggle with forgetting, or my attention span is very low. But I did always feel like I just used to lose interest because I'm not learning, so I'm not understanding, so I just take my mind off it. But now that I'm actually found ways to learn or to build an interest around what I'm learning, I still find that it's something I'm interested in, but I still lose focus or I still forget.